Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folarin. Of course, let's look at the budget has now been signed. According to, if you've been counting, 32 days it was in the coming in before it was signed. So it was late for 32 days. And the acting president had explained that this was largely because of, largely because of differences between the executive and the legislature about amendments that they had made, because the executive feels that the amendments introduced by the National Assembly does interfere in a sort of a radical way with their plans and projections. However, the vice president, looking on the bright side of things, said that it was a statesman-like kind of engagement reaching the signing yesterday, and that they had got the commitment from the National Assembly that those aspects that had been interfered with would be reintroduced along the way via a, sorry for that, via environment, if you get my meaning. Okay, so Sam Daisy Olisa, economist, is our guest this morning. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, our pleasure always, alongside Dr. Deji Awobote.
Botu.
You must get that a lot. Awobotu. Okay then. Financial analyst and a chartered accountant. Thank you very, very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
But both of you could explain this to me, one being an economist, the other being an accountant. This environment matter for the rest of us who, the vice president is assured that they could go ahead with this budget such as it is because there will be environment. But there are those who are saying that, and therein is the challenge, the whole matter of environments. Could you, if you agree with that, could you explain it a bit? All right.
Well, it's so simple because the budget that was sent by the executive to the National Assembly was about 7.28 trillion. The National Assembly approved that budget, deposit into, they approved that with an amendment to the tune of about 7.441 trillion.
Yes.
Now, the executive declined at the first instance. That's why we had a delay of about 32 days, before they could assent to that bill and the budget. And the implication of that is, well, there was an agreement, though, that, well, the differences or the additional thing that you brought in and some of our own position that you took out, well, we will deal with that through that term environment. Politically and stateman's position, for the budget to be signed, they both agree that that mode should be taken. But I have an issue with that.
Okay. What's that?
And the simple issue I have is, in simple terms, what is environment? Environment is simply the administrative transfer of funds from one item of the budget to another. So if you say you're going to execute the key executive projects that you took out, you will accept them in via environment. That means that you're going to deprive other budget items what was actually allocated to them.
And therein is the rub. But Sam, do you see it like that too?
The only addition I have to that is that you can do environment via supplementary budget. If not moving from one item to another, because the budget is a plan for the next 1 year. So by the time you begin to execute, there are some aspects you may not necessarily spend up to budgeted amount. So through supplementary budget, those issues could be sorted out, not only through environment. But one thing I'm happy about is about the maturity that played out this time around. Even though initially there was some disagreement, but for the mere fact that both the executive and the legislature are able to sit down, the head of the legislature, and they agreed. I mean, I think Nigeria is better for it.
Okay, fine, thank you. And when you look at this whole, that we have come to this stage where it has been signed, nice things are being said about each other. On the one hand, the acting president has said, he's confident to be able to sign this because a statesman-like process, ensued, and clearly, that seemed like an approval of the process. Senate President Saraki himself tweeted yesterday that, oh, this is marvelous. It was a delight to see the acting president sign into law this whole thing. The main aspects of this is, I think, the railway project, the ideas that the administration has for its railway. As you know, that was interfered with. What you say still holds, that you think if they go the environment way, then it's still going to hurt us in the end.
Okay, well, this is our best option at the moment. And being the best option, then it's a good one, it's a good thing.
Do you think then that, as you say, it's a good option, do you think that there's some sort of a rapprochement between the two, aspects of our daily life, the executive and the legislature?
Well, I want to say that it's a display of power and supremacy. That's what is actually playing out. And the masses and the people are being hurt for this.
Okay.
Now, yes, we are applauding that the vice president, the acting president actually signed that budget, but to me, I don't see it as a basic applaud, because I see it as an applaud of inefficiencies. Because our fiscal year ordinarily should be January to December. Now, we're having a 2017 budget being approved June 11, mid-year. Let's look at the impact on the people. If you don't sign the budget, the implication of that is there will be limits to the monies you're going to release into the system. There will be release to the number of contracts that you're going to release into the system. Why? Because the budget has not been signed.
Yes.
The implication of that technically will be that the employment that should have been curbed to some extent were being delayed. People are suffering. The powers that you should have injected so much funds into is being delayed. Yeah. There are a lot of implications.
Yeah, but when you spoke about the lateness of the budget and the timing, talking about here we are mid-year, yes, the calendar year, we're moving towards that, but for the moment we have a fiscal year, don't we? So that's why it's said to be just 32 days odd late at this stage of the evolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I think starting from last year, there was delay. So the implementation of the budget, particularly when we're saying zero budgeting, where you can spend on to the following year, I think it was rolled over to May 4 this year. Fortunately, this delay is about 32 days.
Yes. And the acting president has said
even
that
though
it is the hope
the implementation will also be rolled over to next year.
And the vice president has said that we are, shall we say, on short track to the January to December year.
So if by next year they correct the anomalies, but right now there is still delay, but they will roll it over, the implementation, to next year. Unlike before, when by December 31st you stop spending, you refund everything back. But that is not a license to laziness. On different fora, I've argued it, that our National Assembly is full-time. The budget has been presented since December last year. What were they doing for it to have been delayed till May before the appropriation bill was passed? So apart from the supremacy ego between the two arms of government, I think the National Assembly should buckle up quickly, so that it will not take more than 1 to 2 months before they can go through the appropriation bill, break it to committees, invite the executive to defend figures, and the bill will be passed to law as early as maybe first week of February every year. Otherwise, we should adjust our financial year to maybe September, so that we know that, or June, so I will know that we are starting the new year. One thing that will suffer particularly are those infrastructures that require to be built before rain season. You know, Nigeria will run two major seasons, the rain season and the dry season. If the budget is just passed now, it is now you can begin to disburse the capital component. The construction of roads that will have taken place during the dry season will now come into the rain season, and you'll be spending more, and there will be delay in the implementation of the budget. I think that is not good enough for an economy that is in recession. An economy you want to pump in money, do activities, grow the economy, grow the GDP, so I can come out of recession. I think the National Assembly did not do well at all.
Okay. Be that as it is, shall we just take a report that we did that sort of wraps all of this together in a succinct form? Let's look at that and then come back to studio.
It is a key event at the meeting room of the Vice President's wing, and in attendance are key officials of the presidency. Also in attendance are the principal officers of the National Assembly, led by Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Speaker, House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who had been on a trip to Anambra State earlier in the day, came into the room some minutes to 5 p.m. and after a quick introduction by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Adi Paye, put pen to paper signing the 7.44 trillion naira appropriation bill into law. Osinbajo expresses how impressed he is that there is a significant improvement in the quality of the preparation as well as the presentation of the budget, and commends the Ministry of Budget and Planning for achieving this over a single budget cycle. He also commends the National Assembly for their collaborative spirit in engaging MDAs during the budget defense sessions, which he says has ensured that there were fewer reported cases of acrimony or hostile wrangling this year than in the past. The acting president reveals that the budget was considerably delayed due to disagreements between the executive and the National Assembly over changes introduced to the 2017 budget proposals, which affected some of the administration's priority programs.
The most important being that the leadership of the National Assembly has given us a command that the Assembly will reinstate budgetary allocations for all the important executive projects, such as the railway standard gauge projects, the Mambila Power Project, the second Niger Bridge, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, etc., which had been reduced to fund some other new projects. This reinstatement will be by way of an application for environment by the executive, which the National Assembly has graciously agreed to expeditiously consider.
The acting president also expresses commitment of both the Executive and National Assembly towards returning the budget to a January to December fiscal year. For major actors, the next step is implementation of the budget, and they are optimistic that if the level of implementation of last year's budget can be sustained in 2017, it will have a far-reaching effect.
It's a budget of a capital of 2 trillion, the largest we've done so far. If we can maintain the success of 2016, the percentage of capital implementation, that is good for Nigeria. The second most important part, which I really think is key, is the drive for Made in Nigeria to ensure that government agencies give first option to Nigerian companies. That will mean more jobs for our people and also be able to save on foreign exchange. And then continue to drive on agriculture and diversification. The
government is optimistic that the signed budget will act as a tool that will pull the country out of the bleakness of recession, uplifting it into a dawn of abundance. Tayamudu, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, that's the entire report as we have it there. There are those who say, any way you look at it, the right things are being said, but this is seen, the delay and et al. First of all, the introduction of stuff into the budget, then the delay and all of this is as a result of, shall we say, a power play going on, especially coming from the National Assembly. But it is within their rights. That is the way it is. Normally, you have a Congress or an Assembly that is on the same page with the executive on the broad outlines of any nationalistic project. I don't know. Surely, the budget should account for that. And do you think this is sort of a bit distracting, this whole matter of you can't go until we say you can go?
Well, there is rule of law and there's separation of powers. The executive has its rights and powers, the legislature has its rights and powers, the judiciary has their rights and powers. Now, if they all, these three arms of government, if they operate within the confinement of the powers, I believe the country will be better off for it. But when you now take the powers to the extreme, that you must follow my bidding without giving room for dialogue for the other party to also discuss, then the nation will suffer for it at the end of the day, because the major thing that you are supposed to do because you're exercising your powers, is going to impact on the progress of the country at the end of the day. So technically, the supremacy of the powers should be downplayed in the interest of national purpose.
Mr. George, good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your panelists as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, you can see the effect of one tactical mistake the president made. A president that wants to fight corruption came out to say he is not interested on who is going to be making laws for him. It's haunting us now, and that is what we are seeing. I heard you talk about environment. A project that has been passed in June will run till end of May the next year. Even if the National Assembly now passes a budget for 2018 in December, that is to run from January, what will happen to the one that was supposed to terminate in June? That will be overlapping. What kind of, how it's going to be? I'm just imagining the confusion. And then it is time that the government takes this issue of a National Assembly, turning the budget of the country to their own instead of a budget for the nation. You are inserting projects, you are changing figures for projects originally planned by the federal government, and these things are not under any law. It is the right time that the federal government goes to the Supreme Court and seeks clarification as to whether the National Assembly has the power to do what they are doing now. Otherwise, before you know it, in the next few months, the whole country will be in the hands of the National Assembly as one arm of the government. This is my fear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sam, would you like to comment on that, especially that aspect about everybody needs to stay in their lane, so to speak, and the National Assembly would appear to some to be crossing lanes anyhow?
I think what is playing out here is the animosity between the National Assembly and the Executive right from the beginning of this 8th Assembly. The majority party in the National Assembly is the same party in the executive. They're supposed to have things done easily. If you look at what happened in France when Emmanuel Macron won election, the parliamentary election, a lot of people have, his party is winning so that you could have things easy. The same thing is happening in the United States of America when Donald Trump won. The majority is won by Republicans so that he can have things easy. But in Nigeria, the ruling party also have majority in the National Assembly. But now the National Assembly stands out like a stiff opposition to the ruling to the executive of the same ruling party. Is the animosity that generated from day one. That is the hand of Esau, the voice of Jacob. Or the voice of Esau, the hand of Jacob. So this is the problem we're having. And it is still playing out, even in the issue of this budget, process.
Indeed.
Approval.
Indeed.
And the supremacy.
Yes.
Is still playing out.
This whole one-upmanship.
And I think we should be thanking our staff, because if they still wanted to continue to play it out, they can continue to December. But I think the acting president
exactly
used maturity by accepting that they have agreed with the leadership of the National Assembly through environment or whatever later in the year. But one thing I want to point out is this facility made available to Africa by China to upgrade all the railroads. The facility is about $60 billion, and it's for the whole of Africa. Kenya has tapped into it. The other day, about a week ago, I saw the Kenya president between the rail between Mombasa and their capital has been upgraded. He even took a ride. So in our own, we need to put the counterpart funding in the budget. We should drop politicking, and we should pay our counterpart, portion, and draw down on that loan so that we can upgrade our rail line.
I wanted to ask you Sorry, did you want to add something? Because, okay, please, let me not. A little yes.
To what he had said. Yes, we notice what's happening between the National Assembly and the executive. It's unfortunate that the party members that we have in there, they really do not key into the slogan of supremacy of the party. Now, if you take your personal and your selfish interest ahead before the party that brought you into office, then we're going to have issues like this. All right. So, in the interest of the nation, a whole lot of this should be nicked in the bud. And it also goes back to the electorate. You should know the individuals you are electing into office. Whoever you elect into office will tell the kind of governance you are going to get ultimately.
And whoever you elect, you got to work with them.
Do you understand? So,
I understand Mazi Okoroafo is on the line. Are you still there? Good morning, Mazi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. I want to find out from our guest in the studio. You see, when you look at budget in other, like next week, like this Malaysia, you see, the budget for education is always very short. Like the budget we have in Nigeria for education alone, it's not up a research one in Malaysia. But every time when people come to present paper, they'll make reference to Malaysia, Singapore, and that. Like education, agric, and health, which concerns the common man. That the figure you normally see there does not short, nothing to write about. Now, when we come at our budget, the monitoring is like a major problem. Now, my question to our guests in the studio is you see, every year, security takes the highest share in Nigeria. In our budget, security, we see having problem of security problems from January to December. Why is this so in Nigeria? Thank you very much. Comrade Mazi Patrick Okoroafo Farms is my name.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mazi. Did you want to comment on that?
That the budget of security,
well, our priorities are what they are.
Yeah. So, what?
Maybe because of the situations we have.
Right from, not even before this regime, security has been carrying a large chunk. Even state governors, if you remember,
there's still the security vote which nobody knows about.
I think indirectly we need to fight corruption. Because when we are providing for security, and the security is still undermined, we all saw what happened in the last regime. The revelation that came out, a lot of money voted for security going into private pockets. I hope that is not going on now. I hope so. And if you look at it, there is security challenge all over the world, not only in Nigeria, even in Britain. In Britain, in 3 months, there were 3 attacks in France, in Germany. So all these other countries, they have security votes. So it's not only in Nigeria, but what I've expressed is that I hope money made for security votes are actually spent.
Nobody knows that. We just take that on good faith that responsible people become governors, and therefore they will behave responsibly.
Yes.
I think that's the most and that's the whole purpose of that. That's the whole premise of this security vote. That is really like a secret that people will not do what they shouldn't be doing with it. But that's a total subject for another day. People have written tomes on that. But talking about needing to also deal with corruption in the effective implementation of this budget, the Vice President was assuring that there will be reinvigorated efforts to plug leakages, and that kind of a thing. As a result, and stem revenue losses. Well, that's what we've been trying to do for God knows how long. The renewed hope of the acting president. I wonder how much it brings to the subject.
Yeah, I agree with the acting president on that comment, and I pray he will succeed in executing that plan. We should also know that as far as implementation of the budget is concerned, the National Assembly has an oversight function on the respective ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure the budget is effectively implemented. However, I will strongly want to advocate for an independent agency to see to the monitoring of the said budget. Because
that is done in other climes?
But even if it's not done, it's a novel thing.
Because that is what the National Assembly will say is our role.
Well, if it is their role, but unfortunately, they've not proven to us that they are that they've actually that they'll be able to execute that position. So, in my opinion,
let me find out from Ishak in Jos. Good morning, sir. Ishak? Okay, good morning.
Good morning to your guests, your students. My name is Ishak Kaiwa Imam. I'm calling from Jos. Mr. Yori, I think signing 2017 budget in June this year does not go well for the country. This is a budget we expect is going to take Nigeria out of recession. However, we still welcome the development. But I want to suggest the full implementation of 2017 budget, which truly is designed to get us out of recession. And I want to advise the federal government to operate a January-December budget cycle.
Yes.
And again, we should reduce borrowing because from the budget, it's like about 1.something trillion naira it will be channeled towards debt servicing and borrowing. I think we have gotten out of recession. Obasanjo took us out of debt. Now we are gradually going back to that era of debt and this thing. So I want to suggest 2018 budget should be forwarded to National Assembly as the acting president promised that is going to be forwarded to them by October. So that by December, they must have passed it into law.
Okay.
Then we should reduce borrowing. That's my thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That indeed is the plan, Ishak. That indeed is the plan. We'll go on a break now. Come back and we'll keep on looking at this. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. The budget has been signed 32 days late. That's because really right now we're still running a May to May kind of a calendar, not the regular calendar of January to December, which indeed is where we shall be heading, as the Vice President, the Acting President noted yesterday. But we have it, 32 days late or not. There are issues with it, such as we've been having this conversation on. The other thing to ask is, okay, how effective is it going to be in terms of what we need it to do? Primarily, one of those things is attracting foreign direct investment. Maybe you could look at that, your thoughts on it. I know that there are a few, maybe, Sam, would you like to start on that?
Yes. I think the budget is well debated, but looking at this budget, it's not enough, even a full implementation, to take us out of recession very soon. The other area what we have loved to look at is policies, good foreign exchange policy, good interest rate policy, then those ones, if they are properly done, it could attract foreign investment. That is what we need. Is private sector. Every economy like our own should be a private sector driven economy instead of a public sector driven. If we say there is so much corruption in the public sector, so then we have to turn to the private sector for leadership to drive the economy, to drive the GDP.
Wait, there's not that much corruption in the private sector?
Let me give you
there's not that much corruption in the private sector?
Even if there is internally inbuilt system to check because it's private money.
Okay.
All right? Okay. It's not like the public sector where we look at it as government money. Now, let me give you some specific examples.
Okay, but I want to take those examples, but let me bring in Ekene, who is in Ghana and who wants to join the conversation. Good morning, Mr. Ekene.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning again for budget.
Yes.
Yeah, about the issue of the budget that the Vice President signed. I want to know, will this budget change the way the situation of now? Because if this government came into power, I'm getting to 2 years now, there is no budget. 2015 was pardon. 2015 was missing. 2015 was a budget missing. 2015 was budget pardon. And now this 2017. And if you look at the whole country in this world, more the country have been signed their budget for the very long time ago. Why is it Nigeria just in the middle of the year that they are signing the 2017 budget? Will it change the price of commodities in the market and improve the security in the Nigeria? That is what I want to ask. What will this budget bring into the ordinary people in the street?
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Kenneth. As you know, the budgets are for developmental purposes. We'll come to that. But to go back to Sam, who wanted to illustrate some of the things he said.
Before, about 7-8 months ago, the exchange rate policy was too loose, to the extent that even the parallel market dictates the actual rate of exchange, that the dollar was over 500 naira, about 560. And people were even saying, oh, it's going to 1,000. Until the CBN now came in, they did some certain things, like they funded the market, then they reacted sharply. Then again, in the fiscal aspect, dollars were discovered in private homes everywhere. So suddenly the naira began to improve against the dollar, simply because that time there was no concerted effort to fund. People were even buying to keep because of the uncertainty. Then the black market, the parallel market, which is the black market, then they borrowed the change at the banks. A lot of sharp practices were going on. But when CBN took those actions, you discover that there is a little bit of sanity. And the naira was now officially, devalued. They devalued it as against we are not going to devalue.
Okay.
So that right now you can see some sanity, but that it is not yet Uhuru.
I was going to ask if,
yes,
from all you're saying, that has been sorted yet, but apparently not yet.
It is not.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
It's a work in progress.
Something much has to be done.
Okay.
Into the foreign exchange policy of our in our economy.
Okay.
So that foreigners can now bring in their fund.
Okay.
And to attract foreign direct investment.
And that will further ease the pressure.
And that is the only thing that can take us, that can generate enough activity, not only this budget.
I still have in mind Mr. Kenne's question about what's in the budget for me, the ordinary, the common man. But let me go to Abuja, and Mr. Chibuike wants to join the conversation. Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm very happy with your discussion. Please, I want to ask a question. I've overheard my friend in custom saying that their boss returned 31 billion naira back to presidency last year. And they themselves are suffering of equipment and other things in that department. So I don't know, is it the way they are doing? If they return some money back to the presidency, they will have some commission over it and other things, and that makes them to not to use the capital money and all these things. They will be keeping it so that they will return it and gain from it, or returning it back instead of using it. Thank you. Okay,
thank you very much, Mr. Chibuike, for calling in. Let me come back to you, Doctor, for that. And could you also please, mop up Mr. Ekene's question about, hey, all this grammar you people are talking, what's in it for me, the ordinary man? That is the proverbial common man in Nigeria.
Yeah, I think I need to quickly correct a position there.
Sure.
That the budget has been delayed for 6 months.
Yes.
No, they need to understand that it's a rolling budget that's only delayed for about 30-something days.
32 days.
All right. So, and I don't think that's
too
significant yet.
Yes.
That's on one part.
It's an important point, because a lot of people think that
we've been delayed for 6 months.
No,
It's not delayed for 6 months. The budget of 2016 spilled into May 2017. By implication, the budget of 2017 should have immediately commenced mid-May, thereabout, but it's been delayed for that short period of time. That's just on one side.
But by the way, sorry, before you go on,
yeah.
Just for those people who are thinking like that,
okay.
So how indeed is it going to gravitate, as it were, or come to the January to December?
Well, we just have to have a cutoff. Somewhere.
Just by the bullet.
Because with the way it's going now, the acting president had made it clear that come October 2017, the budget of 2018 will be laid before the National Assembly. And we've gotten a commitment from the National Assembly that before 31st December 2017, that would have been worked upon and ready for the executive to sign on. So if they can achieve that, then we might be having either a stop of 2017 budget for 2018 to commence, or we'll try to run both on a parallel basis. So that would be an option for them to decide on. That's on one side. On the other side, I want to believe sometimes last year, President Muhammadu Buhari presented an economic recovery growth plan. And I believe that the budget that is being discussed as we speak is a one-year budget. The economic growth plan is expected to run from probably this year up to 2020 or 2022, as the case may be. So we have about 5-year plan, about 6-7 years plan. So the implication of that is the budget that is being presented now is a subset of the economic growth plan that certainly will be executed, because we can't present a 2-year budget, we can't present the 3-year, but now can we present a 5-year budget? So that is the thinking I would expect the National Assembly to think about, that if the executive has presented a budget of so much amount, rather than reducing the major capital projects in there, because I heard that they're reducing the budget for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Whatever amount that has been imputed into that budget, what you need to do is to upscale your own oversight function to ensure that whatever has been budgeted or whatever value has been imputed into that budget is fully executed with discipline and with efficiency. Where that is not the case, then you should use all the mates of the law to ensure that the culprits are brought to book.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ugochukwu in Ghana, for holding on. Please go ahead now, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Yeri.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. And your good man, your guest over there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your people are really doing the job. It's quite unfortunate that it's right now that they are signing the budget for 2017, not 2015 or 2016. It's quite unfortunate. It looks like to answering the giants of Africa is it we that give our name giants of Africa, or just British, our creator, that give us that giant. No. A country where a cow can go to school because of cow have seen that a human being is no more reading. Because I'm seeing a cow inside the school even this morning, and the last time ago I saw a cow. Just you ask right now in Anambra, it's happening now. Thousands of cows inside the school pursuing children that are learning because they see that a human being can no more learn. Is the late cow go to school? That's what it is. That is what Nigeria has become.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ugochukwu. I understand your anger, and I think I've also seen some pictures, you know, especially on social media. I think something about wandering cattle, maybe entering an abandoned building. So that comic picture, I think, is what he's referring to, and also using it to express his dissatisfaction with a lot of things. But here we are. The point about what's in this budget for the ordinary man, I think you've touched on that. But the problem still is that you're explaining it's not as easy to, as it were, be able to do those things, especially with these delays and inconsistencies. What does this say to foreign people who are interested in foreign direct investment in terms of the stability of policies in Nigeria?
Well, we have to look at the components of the budget and consider the impacts and the implications to humans. That's one. For foreign investors, we have to look at the macroeconomic environment. How conducive is it for them to bring in their funds in here through the right channel? And when I mean the right channel, if I'm going to bring my dollars from the US, I'm going to bring my pounds from the UK, what exchange rate will that dollar pounds be exchanged for the naira that I'm going to use for investment here in Nigeria? Now, we should understand that if we have legitimate organizations in the US that want to channel their money in here between the official rate and the parallel market is so significant, then certainly a rational investor will want to go through the parallel market to exchange his dollars for naira. And that will not be too good for the system. So what the, I believe the Ministry of Finance should do through its arm of central bank is to curb the excesses of the parallel market operators. That is very important. Once that is done, and you know that you're bringing in dollar, there is a market that you can trade that dollar for the right exchange rate, then it's going to bring in a form of stability. And once you do it, you're not just going to do it for a month or two, and we're going to revert back 3, 4, 5 steps backward. It has to be consistent. And it is on the basis of that consistency that the foreign investors will feel so comfortable to bring in the foreign investments into the country.
Okay, Sam, as a banker yourself, what's the problem with achieving DG's aim? You yourself have expressed these kind of thoughts. That this is what needs to be done. Is it discipline?
Down to that recurring factor, corruption.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. I should have put Mr. Thompson on, calling in from VI. Good morning, Mr. Thompson.
They refer me to now, Thompson.
Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir, Mr. Yermi. Hi, family, sir. Mr. Yermi, there's last year budget, 2016 budget, have not seen the job of the budget. And then now, this is June, this is another budget of 2017. And the 3 months from now, 2018 budget will be out. I have not seen 2016 budget, the job of 2016 budget. No power, no road, nothing. And this is June 13 yesterday. The acting president has signed the 2017 budget into law. And this budget came last year to the National Assembly. Now, this is June. 3 months from now, 2018 budget will be out. They know that this government, they know that they have failed us. And they are just playing a joke. They are just playing a joke.
They are not.
And God is going to help us.
Okay.
Because what I'm seeing now is that 2018 budget will be out. What are they doing now with our budget?
Okay.
Delay of the budget yesterday.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Let me return to Sam on this whole matter. And I think that whole matter about the January to December or May to May has been sorted out, and it's been explained that we're going to have to bite the bullet somewhere along the line and say we are going back to the January to December.
Still ask questions on that. Now, what I was trying to say is that, you see, if your foreign exchange policy and implementation is not, with the best practices in the world, you cannot attract foreign investment.
So is it the banks? Is it the banking system that is engaging in sharp practices?
All sectors, the banking, the bureau de change, the black market or parallel market, all sectors are involved.
And the authorities are powerless.
Let me give you an example, particularly the banks. Let me give you an example. In those days, you want to go have a party on Saturday. On Friday, you go to your bank to withdraw 10,000. You tell them, give me 2,000 naira new notes, maybe 100 naira notes. Today, if you go to the bank to withdraw 1 million, they cannot get you 1 naira new note. The same thing happened to the dollar before.
They will not get you a brand new note.
No.
But get to the party tomorrow morning,
women
wherever it is,
come and be selling it.
Mint currency.
Exactly. The same thing happened to our foreign exchange before the CBN took action 3 months ago.
As a sort of a crude example of what's going on with foreign example,
you cannot get it.
Foreign currency.
Get it dollars. So
there
must be action.
Okay.
Government must take You know, but
how easy is it, Digi, for government to take this action? Because you would have felt that if it was easy, government would have put their foot down.
It's the interest of government that I'm going to consider. If the government does not have any vested interest in the black market, then why not shut it down? Criminalize it. Whoever trades like forex on the street should go to jail or should be in prison. It's that simple. Now, if you have an interest that you find it difficult to execute that position, you want to trade dollars, go to the Bureau de Change. Why? Because they are registered. And before you can execute any transaction with the list Bureau de Change, you're expected to have a standard KYC documentation of whoever is buying or selling any forex.
Exactly.
KYC, know your customer.
Yes. No, if I go to the street on Shita, there in Surulere, the manners will be running after me. I have dollars to exchange. And right in the car, you're going to see people exchanging currencies. Certainly, the central bank does not have real data to ensure how much currency we have in this country, because majority of those funds did not pass through the official channel.
So this is part of the problem.
So that's part of the problem. So if you don't institute a firm position, that certainly we're going to be just running in circles.
Going around in circles. And as you pointed out, if there is a vested interest, then it cannot be done.
It cannot.
Sam, Mr. Sam in Surulere, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Bonyori.
Good morning, sir.
I greet you. Dr. Deji Awobotu, our guy, salute.
Good morning.
And Mr. Sam Dicey, God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Now, the starting point is this. Dr. Deji is absolutely correct. Until you criminalize black market, you're not going to get the exchange rate issue right. That's the fact. That's the fact. We shouldn't be talking of parallel as an official rate, black rate. The first signal you send to a genuine foreign investor is there's serious indiscipline in your system. The government is not in control. Environment, I don't want to go into the detail of environment. It's another signal of indiscipline in the whole process of budgeting. Okay, now let's talk of budgeting itself so far. When it comes to, Dr. Deji said, yes, somehow we're going to have a cutoff. He's right, he's correct, but it's not a good practice either. You see, when you're clamoring for foreign direct investment, these guys are there with the genuine fund they want to come inject into your system. They are planning. They are waiting to see your direction, your monetary policy, your fiscal policy. And the best medium for you to communicate this across to them is through your budget. So the more you delay it, it still doesn't matter if it's for a couple of weeks or a month or two. These guys want to know what you're up to come January. So they could see, oh, as viable as your economy is, a huge market, they will then finally decide and say, okay, fine. Let's go invest. But if they keep waiting to know your policy direction, it's not going to help us. It's not going to help us. And again, we must keep asking questions. You see, that's why you have the scorecard. You don't just say, look, I budgeted $500 billion for power, works, and housing. Okay, and at the end of the day, you're not asking. Power and asking, how far, what have you done with the $500 billion? I'm not going to give you another kobo unless I'm convinced you've actually, there's value for money. Okay?
All right, then. I'm sorry, Mr. Jose, I got to interrupt you now, but really appreciate your call. Thank you very much. And it seems to me that in studio here, I saw most of the time you guys were nodding your heads. You seem to be in agreement, and it's a fitting place to leave this.
If you remember,
sure, because we're on the way out now.
In this same studio, what we're discussing that the Nigerian economy is the largest economy in Africa. If you remember, my proposition is that it doesn't matter your size. You can be an elephant and be sick. If our exchange rate policy, monetary policy, and interest rate policy are not addressed properly, this budget cannot take us out of recession.
Okay,
but you have to address those areas.
Yet we hear that we spend our way out of recession. It's an interesting, little nugget there that we have to spend our way out of recession, but there are these issues. Just a closing word, because it seems to me that you've explained that there are a number of inconsistencies here that we are having to manage. For now, they're not going to go away overnight.
Okay, well, the major part I'm going to hit on before the final say
because we've got to go.
Yes, we have a deficit budget, and the acting president had made it clear that this deficit budget will be financed by borrowing. If Nigeria go out there to borrow to finance a capital project that will add value to the system, then it's a good way to go. So it's not about, well, don't go out there and borrow. If you borrow to execute, or to invest in a capital project that will add value.
No problem with that.
No problem with that.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
I think that's a good way to go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Deji Awobotu, Chartered Accountant and Financial Analyst, and Mr. Sam Daisy Olisa, Economist. Thank you very much for, as it were, adding your perspectives to this and illumination to what is often a hard subject for most ordinary Nigerians. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.